It's your favorite realtor, Taylor Cooper, broker, owner, founder of the Cooper McKelvey Real Estate Company. And in this segment, I'm going to focus on what the world is just experiencing daily: scams. Now, we know there's all types of scams and scammers, and how this seems to be essentially epidemic in all forms and fashions of business. I mean, you got the American Greaves of the world, you got the Spencer Cornelius of the world, the JT Pocket Watches. Everybody is covering all of these scams going on, and unfortunately, there is and will be and has been scamming activity in the real estate world as well. But I'm mainly going to focus here on the renting side for this particular segment, because it's just something that I'm coming across too often in meeting and dealing with prospects for the first time. And this is just something that I feel as though I want to start with, most importantly, because the renters, you guys are the foundation of the buyers. Eventually, you're going to develop into that, and maybe one day an investor. So it's good to help you understand how to avoid these types of scams occurring to you at the foundation as opposed to down the line. So I'm going to go over 4 different ways that the most common scams are taking place in the rental marketplace. I'm going to break them down piece by piece so that way you have a complete understanding of how to avoid putting yourself in a situation where you're being scammed. I'm going to start with communication, which is most important, right? We obviously understand that this is the way we connect, this is the way we set up the appointments, this is the way we interact to ultimately get you the apartment that you want, and vice versa. In the communications process, what you would like to understand is, who am I communicating with? Am I communicating with the realtor? Am I communicating with the property manager? Am I communicating with the landlord directly? Establish identity first and foremost in the communication process initially. You want to figure out the details. Are you communicating through email? Are you able to pick up the phone and talk to someone directly? What avenues are we exploring and trying to establish identity and everything like that? And also, you want to consider the source of the communication. Where are you getting the information from? Is it coming from a reputable site? Is it coming from a Zillow, a Trulia, a HotPads, or is it coming from even Facebook Marketplace? And I'm obviously going to touch on Facebook Marketplace and how it could be beneficial. And there's a lot of bad rep about Facebook Marketplace, but as someone that actively markets and leases up prospects from that platform, I can tell you ways to avoid going down the wrong route. What I want to focus on is, as it being a known place where you can acquire information about a rental, there's different ways to navigate that too. So having an understanding of who you're communicating with, how you're communicating, and where you're getting the information from is all key in navigating not being scammed in the initial phase of trying to find your apartment. Secondly, once you've established communication, you figured out who you're speaking to, you now feel comfortable moving forward and setting up an appointment. You always want to make sure that you view the apartment first before anything. I'll say this, one of the main red flags in the scamming process initially, before you even get to the apartment, or get to see the apartment rather, would be the realtor or the representative saying, hey, let me have you complete the application process, or put down a deposit so that way we can schedule an appointment to see. In the real live actual real estate transaction, that is never requested. We always, at least for me, I'll say, or for me, in my years of experience, I've always preferred the prospect see the property first, make sure that it is, of the standard that you're seeking in your next home, before I even have you to begin the paperwork, because with the application process comes costs, fees, documentation, and things of that nature. So once we get to the application process, I always want to make sure that the prospect is 100% certain that they would like to move forward in the lease up of that property. Sum up what I'm saying here with regard to the physical inspection of the property. You always want to make sure that you do that first and foremost before providing any information, personal information, or any funds for any application fees or deposits. All right. Moving into the third point of the segment, beware of requests for funds, suspicious wires, suspicious Zelle payments that don't really make sense depending on where you are in the application or property inspection process. You always want to make sure that you're not sending any funds out unless you've seen the property. And that is a main red flag. I cannot stress it enough. Do not pay any funds until you have at least visited the property in person. And more importantly, you have visited the person or met the person who you've been communicating with from the get-go. All of these things need to now align. You see how we're going into an order. We're starting with communication. Who am I dealing with? Now we go to the second phase. I want to see the property now that's being advertised. Now at the third phase, where they may or may not ask for funds prior to or even after you viewed the property, you always want to make sure that you're mindful and cognizant of where you are in the process before releasing any funds. If you've been following along from my previous segment where I broke down the proper way to secure an apartment that you're looking to move forward with, you will quickly be able to decipher between legitimate and fraudulent when it comes to the apartment securing process. If you're not meeting a landlord or an agent or a property manager with certified funds, such as a money order or a bank check, and they're just so adamant about just doing everything over the phone and want to just move forward with a Zelle or a wire transaction, and you can't meet with someone in person to hand funds over, if of course you're feeling a little uncertain about who you're dealing with, that can be considered a red flag. And that would immediately scream, at least to me, this is not someone that I should be doing business with. Make sure to like, follow, or subscribe. And by the way, make sure you tie me in on those notifications, because I know you want to be first in line to have that bag open to collect what you're here to collect. Here at the Cooper McKelvey Real Estate Company, we are a full service real estate brokerage. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest, work with a trustworthy agent who is knowledgeable of today's market. All of my contact information is listed below. I am looking forward to working with you and helping you achieve your real estate goals.